The NFL has a refereeing problem. Now, yes, you could, complain about all the Chiefs and the refs and all this other stuff. I mean, look at the image I thrown together here. But I think it's worse than that. So you can go out, yes, you can find stats like, oh, the Chiefs haven't been out penalized against another playoff team in 1,400 days and all this other stuff. But I think on a deeper level, what it comes down to is the referees in the NFL are not full-time refs. They're all part-time referees. And that blows my mind. For the NFL being the biggest league in the world, we do not have full-time refs. And it's crazy. Like the NFL is just a side gig for all these refs. A lot of them are like lawyers, own car dealerships, all kinds of stuff. The referee's just a side gig for them. I think another big issue is even if they get the calls wrong, and the refs they'll even admit sometimes that they got calls wrong, nothing ever happens. Refs don't get fined, players do all this bad stuff. You go like this at all, and boom, $15,000 fine. Like, why aren't we fining refs like that? Make them full time, give them good pay. You could fine refs if they make bad choices, or better yet, make every play reviewable, every penalty reviewable, and bring this like UFL, USFL, whatever it's called now, kind of style into the league, and always have, some kind of command center of referees too that are just constantly watching and reviewing every play. It's, this year there's been a lot of times where they kind of did speed that up. They kind of have like, the sky ref or whatever it is, where they're like, you go ahead and give them the first down on that. And then they'll just give them the first down. We don't have to go through this 10-minute, sitting there, the referee staring through the thing, waiting for some kind of decision for them to show slow motion replays on the broadcast of like, oh yeah, this was definitely a catch, to then come out to the field and say, no, it was an incomplete. Like, what did we just waste 10 minutes on? They just showed us. I mean, even college football has the same issue with referees, but there's like got to be some kind of boot camp set up. Like, you'd have former players in there refereeing. Like, there's just so many different ways you could do this. NFL has literally an endless mound of money. How I would fix it personally, make some kind of program where the refs, they start out in college football, kind of get their toes wet there, and if they do a good enough job, they can get promoted up to the NFL. You have refs, they can run off-season programs, they can work with teams, they can get, talk closer one-on-one with teams. There's just so many different ways you could do this instead of having part-time refs in court a week, on Saturday, and then he's got to referee a game on Sunday. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. It's just very frustrating from a fan perspective. And, it's not even that like, oh, yes, the Chiefs won or this team won or anything like that. We just want fair games called. That's all. It's like there's always these phantom calls. Referees have even admitted to like get back calls where like they'll throw a penalty on somebody in the first quarter that probably shouldn't have been a penalty, or they realized after that it shouldn't have been a penalty. So they'll call a penalty on the other team in the fourth quarter, just kind of as a get back, like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Here's a get back penalty for you. Just to take any kind of bias out of it. Like, there's just got to be a better way to do all of this. Get a better replay system in the NFL, full-time refs, and pay them good. And if they don't do their job, fine them. As simple as that. Because it's not affecting just players, it's affecting people's sports betting. So people are actually losing money on this thing. It's just making the game look just bad, and period. You have these big international audiences. You have games on Netflix, you have games on Prime, you have all these, primetime games, and they see bad calls like that, and it just looks terrible for the NFL. If you have somebody that somehow hasn't watched the NFL before and they watch that, and it just looks all Mickey Mouse out there, like there's simply better ways to do it. And we need to, somehow get on the NFL about just somehow doing this. And I don't know how they're supposed to do it, how they're supposed to implement it, but they got the money, they got the time. Roger Goodell, please do something, brother. If you're real buddy with a certain ref, like there's some refs where it's like the referee for the Eagles game this week, they're like 0-3 and have a bunch of penalties the last 3 games that he's refed their games. There's just all these other things, like teams even go they study this stuff between games each week, which referee crew you're going to have. Are you going to be able to get away with offsides on this games or false starts, the tackle moving back, a little bit early, that kind of thing. They study this because they know, they study all the refs, all the teams, like around which ref can you get away with certain things. And that simply shouldn't be a thing. And they had the whole review thing these last few years where you could like review like certain penalties and not all penalties. And what ended up happening is coaches would throw the challenge flag for these penalties that were reviewed, and they would just go ahead and upheld the penalty anyways, because the refs don't want to look bad. They're like, you're challenging what we said. We're just going to, basically deny your challenge flag. And boom, you lost a timeout as well. Sorry about it. And it's just a bad look. The refs control this league. It's simple as that. Now, is every game rigged? I don't think so. Are the refs refereeing to, make sure the Chiefs win the Super Bowl because Taylor Swift's there? I don't think so. Can't lie, there definitely is bias in the referees. And, changes need to be made, and they need to be made soon, because it's not screwing just the players over. It's not screwing just the coaches over. It's screwing the fans over. It's screwing sports bettors over. It's just screwing viewers over in general. Changes need to be made. Just keep striving that. Just keep pounding it in your head. Maybe you'll pass it along. But if you've made it this far in the video, appreciate you. Make sure you guys check out all the socials down there. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.